I'm Hara Allison, and this is Dream Anyway, a podcast for those of us who feel the pull to create, even when the path isn't clear. So wherever you are in your journey, grab a coffee, get comfy, and dream anyway.
Hi, I'm Krisha Young, and my mom passed away 6 years ago. I think she was in her mid-60s, and I was 39 years old. My mom, unfortunately, had an addiction to alcohol. I mean, she was 22 when she had me. I think that for her, it was a matter of get me the heck out of the house. It was the 70s, you know what I mean? I think my grandparents were strict Catholic, all of that. And she was like this rebel, very, very much like how I am. I couldn't imagine being in that kind of environment, right? So I have a soft spot for her spirit in a way. The unfortunate thing is just I ended up, and my sister ended up being sort of like collateral damage in her desire to break free from whatever shackles she was part of because of that type of upbringing, right? So I think she just kind of was really, really unhappy and, not happy being married so young, not happy having children so young, living in the middle of nowhere. And, my mom's a very social person. And I think it really just got to her. Her and my dad weren't well matched. So there was all these things that were kind of stacked against her. And I think she just started to get involved with drugs and alcohol. And the next thing you knew, it was an addiction of hers. And that was basically her life. So she actually died from pancreatic cancer. She had tried many, many, many times to quit and went to rehab and all that kind of stuff. She just never was able to get to the other side of it. And so for me as a child, that was really difficult to be in that situation, right? Always being the adult in that and kind of picking her up off the floor every single day. And she could be like sometimes physically violent and definitely like verbally abusive. And, she was very much played the victim. And so it was like just that constantly every day. It was really difficult for me to have any kind of compassion for her, any kind of love for her. So we had a very strained relationship, but at the same time, there were pockets of time where we got along and I wanted to have closeness with her, especially as I was becoming, more of an adult. It would just constantly get in the way. So, we didn't really have that opportunity to build something that was like a true mother-daughter relationship, which is unfortunate. I think maybe that I reminded my mom too much of my dad because I kind of look like him, and maybe I behaved somewhat like him. And she just had so much anger about him that I think, when she saw me, it was just pure resentment, pure anger, so she rejected me quite a bit when I was a kid.
Do you think that your mother influenced the way you mother, good or bad?
Oh, 100%. First of all, it was a complete rejection of even wanting to be a mother. So I was like, I don't want kids. No way, man. I didn't understand. I didn't know how to be a mother. I didn't know what good mothering was. I had kids later in life. And then when my boys were born, it was actually the incentive that I needed in order to start doing the deeper work on myself. After my ex and I split, there was a period of time there where I was noticing myself behave in a similar way to how my mother was behaving. Kind of like, I don't want this responsibility was really strong. And thankfully, I had done like a ton of personal development and I was working with a coach and all that kind of stuff. So I was able to say, hey, I'm recognizing the fact that I want nothing to do with the responsibility of having children. And I need to work on that. It was really interesting to see that and to be able to break that pattern and how I was showing up as a mother and deal with the resentment that was coming up for me and the same sort of things. And so working with all of that really allowed me to be able to heal so much of the pain that I had from her and shift how I mothered my own kids. Even though I was really angry with her, and even though I resented her and we had this strange relationship, I was always trying to help her, probably save her. It wasn't healthy. I did have a level of compassion for her for sure. Not when I was a teenager. I hated her guts. But, as I grew up, I started to have more of a soft softness around it. And then especially like in the last few years before she died.
Yeah. If she was alive today, if she was hanging out in the next room waiting for you,
yeah,
what would you want her to know?
Wow, that question really got me. I'd want to just like talk to her about like, you know, my day. The nuances that like I just wouldn't talk to anybody else about. I'd want her to know like all of it, like all the nitty gritty details, and just like have that level of conversation with her and want her wisdom. Not that I need advice or anything like that, but just like, this is what I'm experiencing, and you know, these experiences are new, and I want to share that with her and just hear what she has to say about it, and if she had any wisdom, and hear about her experiences too, you know, like.
Yeah, you got me too there. Because I don't think it's necessarily the wisdom that you're looking for. It's just the closeness. There's something special about a mother, whether they were a good mother or not. Mm-hmm. You know, whether they succeeded or not in mothering. I think we all kind of want our moms.
Yeah. Yeah.
My name is Gillian Cranehahn, and my mother, Marion, who we all call Mickey, who'd been in long-term care for about 5 years off and on, was 94 when she died almost 9 months ago. And I was and remain 70. She was in care off and on for 5 years. Gradually, though, she kind of slipped away, keeping in mind that at the same time, in a parallel track, my sister and her husband were also in long-term care in a Center for Traumatic Brain Injuries in Vancouver. And they died first within 24 hours of each other. They died on the same weekend in mid-September. And then Mom went in October.
Well, what were they in for?
Short story is they were nearly beaten to death in a home invasion.
Oh, that's so sad. I'm so sorry.
Me too. Thank you. The best gift I got in my divorce in 1992, coming away from an almost 20-year marriage, was getting to know my mom as an adult, especially with a master's in counseling, which I didn't have as a child, obviously. I was so much more savvy about her issues and how she came to be the person she was. And I realized that I, in turn, would not have become who I am, except for the trials that she put us through. Going back to childhood, and even perhaps to the point where I left home, I would not have crossed the street to piss on her, to put a fire out.
Oh, wow.
I had a rough time. But the thing was, she didn't want kids.
Oh.
She just didn't want kids. But my dad did. My dad loved kids, and he loved us dearly. And my grandmother, his mother, gave a lot of help raising us early on and so on. Mom had grown up in abject poverty in El Paso, Texas, with a father who was a drunken gambler who was rarely there. He came home to knock up her mother, who was crippled by rheumatoid arthritis, to a wheelchair very young, and managed to still have 4 kids. My mom was the oldest, and she had to raise them all. And they were so poor that they ate other people's garbage, and they ate bugs and grass to stay alive, because there wasn't welfare in those days. And they weren't close to churches, because my grandmother's family is really heavy duty Catholics, and my grandfather's family was Protestant. So the church threw them away. As I grew up and got to know her again, was what she did wasn't personal about me. I could have been Shirley Temple and she would have hated us. It wasn't hatred of me as a person. It was hatred of the fact that she was tied down with children when she had wanted so much more.
She just wasn't kind. Is that what you're saying?
She was aloof. She swore at us a lot. I went through a windshield when I was 8.5 months old and broke my legs. So I had a head injury and broken legs. And I was in the hospital off and on for the first 2 years of my life.
What kind of accident was that?
Drunk driver T-boned the car that I was riding in on the lap of the woman in the front seat, who is my best friend's mother. and all of us were ejected out the side. My father, who was working 2 jobs and going to Whitman, had asked our friend Jack to pick up my mom. It was my mom's birthday weekend and take her for a drive. He picked her up in the mid-morning, and then they were going to go to lunch. And as they were coming out of the park, I guess, very slowly, a drunk driver sped through and hit us all. A guy trying to avoid the wreck swerved around the wreck and ran over my legs.
Gosh.
I spent a long time in traction. That didn't help. Medical bills, no insurance. And of course, as a drunk driver, he had no insurance. There wasn't a law against being a drunk driver in those days. So there was no recovery. My father dropped out of school in May of his senior year and took on another job to keep us fed and pay the bills. My mother, I think, was not happy about that either.
Because she saw him less?
Well, she saw him less, yeah, and she had a very cranky, hurt baby to take care of, along with my sister, who nearly broke her neck. Ended on the curb on the side of her neck.
Are you older than your sister, or is your sister older than you?
No, my sister was older. My sister was the hope of the family. My sister was the pretty sister. My sister was the talented sister, the smart sister. Ooh, that hurt. But my mom, who grew up attached to my sister more, maybe as firstborn, I don't know, maybe because my sis wasn't injured and she was easier to care for, and maybe because grandma helped more. I bonded with my dad, so I'm daddy's girl, which is fine. Daddy and I remain, and we are the only ones in the family now. So.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. We haven't had a lot of time to mourn these people or to celebrate them, especially my mom.
So you were not very close with your mother as a child, and then you went to college and came back and became close with her. How did that happen? Do you think she softened?
I think that she softened a lot. I also think that she struggled with herself, and she punished herself a lot over trying to figure out how things had gone so badly. She and Daddy may have talked too. I don't know.
What's your favorite memory of your mom?
Of watching her become a friend from the time I was 42 until 70, you know? She admired me. She said nice things about me. She said how proud she was.
That's so beautiful. I'm happy for you.
Me too, even though it doesn't look like it, maybe.
No, it does. I understand. I just have one more question.
Sure.
If she was in the next room and you could go tell her anything, is there anything you want to tell her?
Oh, I guess I'd tell her I was sorry I didn't come more to see her. And I'm sorry I didn't get to just lie on the bed with her and hold her.
Hi, my name is Amber McKenzie, and my mom passed away 5 years ago when she was just 68 years old, and I was 41.
Were you really close with your mom?
Super, super close. She was kind of like a soulmate for me, for sure. She wasn't a perfect mother, but she was the perfect mother for me, and just lived her life really honorably, I would say. When she made a mistake, or when she knew that she wasn't living her life the way that she wanted to, she changed it, and she got help, and she got counseling, and she turned into a really amazing mom because of that. I was very lucky.
Do you mean getting healthy? Like, what were the issues?
My mom and her mother had a very difficult relationship. So my grandma was pretty abusive, and they grew up in a pretty toxic environment. She had 2 sisters, and you know, there's a lot of fighting and a lot of jealousy. And my mom was really beautiful and the prom queen and super smart. But I think that was intimidating to her mother and her younger sister. So there was a lot of tension and a lot of abuse. When my mom became a mother, she noticed that she was doing the same things her mother did. And in the beginning, she used to tell herself, I will never be the type of mom that my mom was. And then as she had kids, she was becoming the type of mother that her mom was. She was abusive in the sense that she would react to us and want to kind of smack us around because that's just what happened to her.
Did you find yourself ever parenting the way your mom parented in the beginning?
I mean, I would say that, yeah, maybe, but I've never like hit my children. Like I just knew that spanking was not good and I didn't like it as a kid. So spanking just didn't ever resonate with me. I do notice that I would probably get reactive and maybe yell for sure.
I'm asking because, we all vow not to be our mothers.
Yeah.
And somehow we all turn into them. My mother used to ignore me when she was mad at me, and I hated that. I swore I'd never do that. And it is my go-to.
Isn't that interesting? I got into her parenting when she was more healthy. And so I try to emulate that, more than anything. And just communicating with my kids and giving them freedom. She was really good about giving me good, healthy boundaries, but like freedom. She trusted me to make good choices. And then if I didn't, then it was, oh gosh, mom's disappointed or whatever. And I felt bad. For me, that was huge. I really felt a lot of freedom as a kid.
You were around for her being sick. Did you help take care of her or anything?
Yes. Oh man, I am on a spiritual path. And I realized that probably from a very young age, I knew somehow that my mom was not going to live as long as I wanted her to. Because I used to be obsessed with, Mom, you can't die. I also had this feeling like if anything were to ever happen to her, I would take care of her. I wanted that opportunity. I went into denial when she was sick. First, I was like, nope, just total denial. And when I finally understood what was happening, it was rough. But I knew right then and there that my role was to help her and be with her and do whatever I could to make it a beautiful process or just be there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was so young. I was 18. So I was running away.
Oh, wow.
I wish there was a do-over. I'd love to be there for my mother because it must have been scary for her too. She was just 46.
Oh, man.
I don't know how you can't be in denial. Because how do you imagine a world without your mother? Do you think that's true?
I think that's very true.
Yeah, because they kept telling me over and over, my mom's dying. And it just wasn't sinking in because I can't picture it. I couldn't picture what that meant.
No, same. There was no world where she wasn't in it.
Right. How has your world changed?
Of course, in my mind, I was thinking, I can't do this without her. I can't do this life without her, but obviously I can. The other thing that I came to is just the understanding that she is still with me and I still talk to her. I still ask her for guidance. I still ask her to appear. She comes to me in dreams. I sense her essence, but my world has changed because I had to find my own inner mother because my physical mother was gone from my sight. I don't know if you dream of your mom.
Oh, yeah.
I know in my heart that is 100% my mom. Her essence is just like, hey. And, it's funny because sometimes I've had these dreams where I see her and I'm like, oh my God, Mom, I thought you were dead. Like, you're not dead? And she's like, no, I'm right here. Fine.
Same dream.
Seriously?
Over the years, all the time, I'm so mad at her for being alive. And I say in the dream, I've been looking for you my whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here you are, just fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was because of feeling of abandonment.
No, I think she's there. Just like.
She's just okay somewhere.
Yeah.
That's much better.
That's much better. Well, because then sometimes I wake up and I'll hug her, like it'll be a real hug, like I can feel it. And then I'll wake up and I'll think, oh, maybe this life sometimes is more like the dream. And that dream is what's really happening. That's what I feel. Like the truth is my mom is still there. Yes, she's in a different form, but 100% she's still there. And she's just so funny. She's just in the dream. She's like, yeah, I'm here.
That's exactly the same dream. It actually is bringing tears to my eyes because it's such a beautiful thought thinking that, yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
Instead of my desperation of looking for her, if I can see it through her eyes of, yes, I've been here Here I am. I'm fine. I'm here. I've been here all the time. Oh, I feel so overwhelmed with that beautiful thought. Thank you.
Yay. That makes me happy
that
too.
Makes me so happy.
Awesome. Hopefully we'll both dream of our moms tonight.
I'm Judi Rabensteiner Frers. My mom passed away 46 years ago when she was 52 and I was 12. One thing I regret is not getting to know her as an adult. Only knowing her from getting sick when I was 9. She had breast cancer and she was in and out of the hospital quite a bit those 3 years before she passed away. So yeah, I just wish I could have known her as a grown-up.
I think that all the time also. I mean, you were even younger and I was a bitchy teen.
Right. Well, I was kind of a little rapscallion myself, even at that young age. And I think mothers and daughters have, at the same time, they love each other so much, but then at the same time, they also butt heads.
Yes, for sure.
And I can say the same for even my own daughter and myself.
Yeah.
The more time that goes by, the more I realize how much influence she really had on me, even in that short amount of time. For example, I went back to Atlanta for my sister's wedding, and my cousins hadn't seen me in a really long time. But one of my cousins there, Joyce, when she first saw me, she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's like I'm seeing your mom walk in the room." She said, "You look so much like her." That's just physical, right? But we used to go visit her on Wednesdays. That was our day to go. And she used to play anagrams with me. And so I'm positive that caused me to just love words and language. And the other thing is she was just super straightforward. And I appreciated that so much because so many of the adults in our lives were telling us, oh, she's going to be fine. You know, she's healing up. And she wasn't. And I could tell she was deteriorating by her looks and loss of hair and all that. And so one day when we're playing anagrams, I said, "Mama, are you going to die?" And she said, "Everybody's going to die someday." And so she was the only one that really said yes to me. And I appreciated that.
Yeah. Did you worry about being 52?
Absolutely. Creeping up to that age, I was like, okay, when's the shoe going to drop? And it came and went, and I'm now 6 years older than she was when she died.
I think that every year is such a blessing. And I can't believe I get to be this age.
Right.
And what she would have been like at this age.
Yeah. When I hit high school and they started having mother-daughter luncheons, for example, or my mom's taking me dress shopping, or my mom this and that, and I could never join in those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It started to really hit me. And then at some point I realized, well, she won't be at my wedding. She won't be there when I have babies. And that's when it really hit home or made me kind of grow up really fast.
How do you think it's affected you in terms of people not understanding what you've gone through? You know, somebody once told me I bring it up too much, that I play a victim, which I don't think that at all. I think I'm a woman who misses her mom. And I'm still succeeding in life. But the truth is, I want my mom.
Yes, absolutely. I've thought about that. And I guess at one point in time, I might have been self-conscious about bringing it up because I didn't want exactly what people are saying to you, that, oh, you're such a victim. That's the one great thing about getting older is I don't really care what people think. If I want to say that I miss my mom, I miss my mom. I'm going to say it. But there's some grain of truth in that at certain times. If I would get sad, whatever had just happened was piling on to the other stuff that's happened to me in my life. Because I've had other deaths too. All my grandparents were gone by the time my mom died. Then I had a friend, she died in a car accident.
Oh.
Death has played a pretty frequent role in my life, starting really young. So I guess at times I did feel resentful when I would see people going to visit their parents as an adult and their parents are still both there and together. And I would maybe have a little pity party for myself. Like, I can't do that.
I don't think it's a pity party. I think I'm mean. I'm jealous as hell. Mm-hmm. And when people our age still have their parents bailing them out and shit, I'm just so jealous.
Right. Nobody's bailed me out, let me tell you. You know, you talk about being jealous of people. I couldn't be bothered with hearing about my friends' bridal showers and their weddings. I was just like,
Right.
I had no time for it. I just didn't want to hear about it because I had other things to worry about. And I was jealous too. I wanted mom to go take me shopping or whatever. So, I mean, that's probably the bratty side of me. You do look at things, I think, through a different lens a little bit, and maybe a little bit more gratitude for things that do go your way, you know, that other people take for granted.
For us, you and I, at least, every year we are a year older than our mothers. We're just like, oh my gosh, what a blessing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
If your mom was here, what's one thing you'd want to tell her?
That I love her. If it was just a one chance visit that I had, I would tell her thank you for everything, and especially with regard to language and reading and spelling and poetry and all of those types of things, because she really was a major influence in that regard. I'd also tell her how much Daddy loved her. That she probably already knew, but that's something that sticks with me.
That Daddy loved her, did you say?
Yeah, I tell her Daddy loves her because I think toward the end, she was sort of mixed up and he was so sad that, I don't know, the two of them together wasn't the best for either of them. But I know they loved each other. That's not the issue. It's just, I hated that she went out of the world kind of being a little bit, I don't want to use the word dementia because it could just have been the result of, you know, having medication.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time that, you know, Daddy had to see her go that way. We all did. She probably didn't see the world clearly as she had when she was younger.
You know, my mom was in the living room also, or her hospital bed wasn't at the end also. Mm-hmm. Those are weird last memories to have. I understand what you're saying. I mean, she was bedridden and there was a catheter and bedpan, and I'm sure that's not how she wanted to end her beautiful, sophisticated life. You end it like that, but I just have to think that must get erased. When you look back on your life in heaven, that part doesn't even exist.
I agree with you 100% that it's a higher understanding, a higher enlightenment, and where there are fears and pain and a place of joy and wholeness.
Yeah.
My name is Janet Gracey, and my mom died a year ago. She was 79 and I was 52.
Were you guys close?
I believe so.
Why the hesitation?
I know for sure my mom and I were close, and I know that I kept her at a bit of a distance most of my life. Yeah, we were definitely very close and in each other's lives often, and a very deep love. And I can't tell you how many times, even still a week, I think I'll just call Mom and tell her, diddy, but then I go, oh yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss. I really am. And it's so new.
No, thank you.
Do you mind me asking why you kept her at a distance?
I think it had to do with events in my childhood where I lost some trust, even though she was the most generous, giving, loving human being ever. Maybe it could have just been because she was just so darn busy and raising 3 kids on her own and providing for us in an incredible way, but I just wish there was a little bit more playtime and fun time. And so I just think I built up a little barrier. I didn't really recognize it until this past year.
Oh, do you have children?
I do. I have a daughter. She's 20.
I'm asking because, you know, my mom wasn't present. Boy, I had a lot of anger towards her most of my adulthood because she wasn't there for me, even when she was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was a single mom parenting 2 kids, and she was a single mom with 6 kids. And I've just been more forgiving as the more I parented. So I was just wondering if you were also a parent and if parenting has changed your thoughts of her at all.
I know now the depths of her love that she has for me. If you have a good parent that's in your life and provides for you and loves you and supports you and is always there for you, I didn't really recognize the depth of it until I had my own daughter, and then I could go, oh, okay, so that's how you feel about me.
Exactly. What's different for you with your mom not there?
One thing is I feel like I'm the last gatekeeper now. I'm the safety net. I am the last stand. There is nobody behind me supporting me. If something goes wrong with me, I know I have my brothers. I know, worst case scenario, they would help me, but I still feel very, very responsible. I always knew my mom was there if I ever had a thing. And the other thing was, I feel like I was really forced to find the good, even more so to be self-reliant more so, but also just in every circumstance, where's the good? And I guess the third thing is that I now feel rather driven to be very healthy. I guess a fourth thing is that in order to support my mom's legacy, I know she had friends and all the rest of it and had a life of her own, but I know that she also lived for my brothers and I. And I know for a fact that she is expecting us to find joy and happiness more than we've ever had. So things are very different. They're all good except for the void, right? The void is awful.
Yeah.
Someone told me something interesting. If one believes that your loved one becomes pure love and pure light when they die, then that's what they are, is pure love and pure light. They're not sorrow and they're not grief and they're not anger. So if I want to meet my mom, I need to meet her in pure love and pure light and not in, despair.
And of course, that's what she wants for you.
Yes. Yeah, that was a very big help for me. It is comforting to know that I was loved just as deeply and richly and fiercely as I love. It's quite a mirror to have that without a doubt knowing. Grateful my mom was who she was. She could have been a whole lot of other things as a single parent.
My mom wasn't alive for my first marriage or my children or, while she was so far from perfect, I knew I was loved so much. That's why the topic fascinates me, and I want to talk to everybody about their moms, because there's nothing like having her or losing her.
I joined a support group, and the facilitator explained to me that you need to talk.
Right.
It's part of the integration experience. It's part of the recovery experience. It's part of losing a loved one. And you're not okay when you don't. And mainstream people don't want to know.
Don't you want to talk about your mom and tell me all the beautiful things you remember about her? I want to talk about my mother. I don't care that she's been gone 35 years. I want to talk about her. I want her to be alive for me.
That's how we keep her alive. My mom, she had a love of herons, and she always said that if she saw a heron, it was going to be a good day. That was her thing. And she would tell us, I saw a heron today, and this happened, and this happened. And, we would hear all of her stories. I was driving 2.5 hours to the funeral home, and I had just spent an hour on the phone with one brother, and it felt like an hour on the phone with my other brother, and we were just drained. And it was very emotional, and we were all, I think, crying, and I got lost. And my one brother said, don't be late. And I was like, I'm not going to be late. I've driven to, this place forever. I know where I'm going, and I won't be late. Well, I got lost. And then I ended up at this T intersection, and there was a swamp right in front of me. And right from that very spot, a huge heron took off and flew all the way across this whole swamp and then soared off into another direction. And I was just like, okay. It's going to be okay. Thank you, Mom. And I told that part of that story in my eulogy for my mom. And then when my mom's best friend hugged me, she said, I didn't know the story about herons, but I've been seeing herons ever since your mom died.
Awesome. And I don't think you got lost at all.
Right. You know, when you know how to get from A to B, you can do it blindfolded and you get turned around. It's like, okay, well, this obviously was meant to happen. It was a lovely gift.
Well, hello, my name is Karen Holzer, and my mom passed away about 45 and a half years ago, and she was 57 and I was 21.
I like that it was about 45 and a half.
Yeah.
That's pretty exact. That's funny. Do you mind if I ask how she passed away?
She was here one day and gone the next. It was a cerebral hemorrhage. I think it was really most hard on me because a few weeks before she passed away, I had a really bad dream that I've never had before or since then, where it woke me up and I was sobbing. And I dreamt that she died.
Oh.
And that we were sitting in the funeral home talking to the guy in there. And then he took us into this other room to go pick out caskets. And that exact same thing happened like 3 or 4 weeks later.
Oh, wow.
I blamed myself for a lot of years.
Oh, you did? Because you dreamt it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you think because you had a premonition, you should have been able to prevent it?
I guess maybe. I did tell her about it. I was told by my dad that she took out more insurance on herself after that.
Oh.
That was pretty weird.
That is weird.
I wasn't a Christian then. I mean, I believed in God and stuff, and I did a lot of questioning back then, a lot of questioning. Now, since becoming a Christian, you know, I look at it in a different perspective now.
How do you look at it differently?
It wasn't my fault, that it was just a weakening in that artery that just decided to pop, you know, at that particular moment. And my dad wasn't in town when that happened. It was in November, so he was up hunting with his hunting buddy clear up north.
Were you living at home then with your mom?
Actually, I got married when I was 17, so I was married.
How do you think not having a mom changed how your life turned out?
Getting pregnant at 17 and married at 17, there was a little rift there at that time, you know, because of the circumstances, of course. But we patched things up, and I guess I just was sad that I didn't get more time with her to reconcile that some more. And my youngest child was only like 4 years old when that happened. He just remembers her as the Cocoa Puff grandma.
That's
and
cute.
then, of course, I had 2 children after she passed away, and so they never had the chance to know her. Back in when I was a kid, I had a couple of autograph books. And of course, I didn't know any famous stars or anything. It was my friends and my relatives that signed it. But my mother signed my autograph book, and I always recite this little quote that she wrote in there to my kids. And it's good, better, best, never let it rest. Till your good is better and your better is best.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cute. My mother wrote in my autograph book too. She wrote, "Stop being in such a hurry to grow up. Enjoy being 15. I'm enjoying you being 15. I was in a rush to grow up. You obviously were too.
Yes. That's for sure.
You look all sweet and innocent, but
yeah. Fooled you.
I like that.
She wore the same dress to all of us kids' weddings. It was a beige lace dress, and all she did was change the color of her accessories, her purse and her shoes and her gloves and her hat. In fact, my brother and I, when my mother passed away, they wanted us to bring the clothing that a woman would wear except for shoes. And so we were deciphering what dress, and my parents in 1965 celebrated their 25th silver wedding anniversary. So she had the silver lame dress. And my brother, the middle brother, he suggested that dress. I said, oh no, it's the beige lace dress. So that's what we buried her in, was her beige lace dress.
I think that's more appropriate for eternity.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the silver lame was a little bit flamboyant.
The rest of eternity, it seems like a little much.
Yeah.
If your mom was in the next room and you had an afternoon to spend with her, is there anything you would want to tell her?
Oh, gosh. Just how I've missed her and missed experiences with her. You know, her being there for the birth of my other children and seeing them grow up into the fine adults that they are. And of course, my mother, I think she'd be almost like 104 or something like that now, but.
No, she's back, but she's 50, in her 50s.
Yeah, it looks better than she did at 57. So.
Is 57 younger than you?
Yes, 10 years. I freaked out at this 57th birthday.
Oh, you did? Me too. My mom passed away at 46, and from 18 to 46, I worried about turning 46. Did you do the same thing?
Me as well, yes.
Are you ever jealous of women who have their mothers?
Oh, yes.
I don't feel good about it, but it's just definitely true.
Yes.
Is there a story about your mom that you like to tell?
When I got married, we were up in a separate room in the church, you know, getting all ready and everything. And my mother was so flustered. She wanted to put the veil on my head, but she was so flustered, she was putting it on my brother's head instead. We got a good laugh out of that.
That's so funny.
Hi, my name is Leslie Woodfill, and my mom passed away 7 years ago when she was 74 and I was 51.
Were you guys close?
You know, before she was ill, or before I realized she was ill, it seemed like we were growing closer. As a child and teen and young adult, it was sort of a testy sort of a relationship, as moms and daughters sometimes are. I think as she sort of internally realized things were going wrong, she started to soften. My mom was of German heritage. Wasn't a bunch of I love yous and snuggles and stuff like that. And when she became sick, things changed. And I thought, where were you? Okay. You know, we were at Red Robin and she put her hand on mine and then she looked up at me and then she did this thing that she does where she would touch your face and sort of go down the side of your face. And she says, you know, I love you, Cec, right? And I was just like, you know, tears were trying to fight back. And I think it was at that moment I realized really there is something wrong. And I needed to forgive what was the past and embrace what the future was and be grateful for that moment.
How long was she sick for?
About 10 years.
Oh, wow. And do you think you forgave her and you had a good relationship at the end?
Yes, for sure. There was those opportunities then where I could still kind of go back to that sassy kid thing. And she'd look at me and raise her eyebrow, you know, because she couldn't communicate. And I'm like, I know, you know, and then she'd smile. It was in a way a good thing that it was such a long illness, because it did give those moments of healing, you know, where I could just lay my head on her chest
She would hug me with her chin.
Ah, well, what happened that she couldn't communicate?
My mom had what was called dementia with Lewy bodies, which is an Alzheimer's Parkinson's mix.
So was she diagnosed in her late 60s then?
64. And then she died at 74. I'm almost 58. So the idea that is that lurking around my corner.
Yeah.
I try not to think about it.
Tell me more about her when you were younger, the German mom that you had. What was she like?
She was pretty strict. Kind of towed the line with what you did. And one factor is she grew up in Germany during World War II. She would say things, you'd get up in the morning and you just came down the stairs. You've not said a word. You haven't really even come around the corner yet. And she'd say, well, who stepped on your liver? And I'm like, I don't even know what that means, And it would always irritate me. And I would just be like, I can't even respond, And then she'd say, I don't know why you're so upset. And I'm like, well, I wasn't, But then you would look down at the counter and she prepared your breakfast for you.
How are you like her?
Probably I'm like her in that I have high expectations and I don't take a lot of guff from people. Just say it or get on with it. We don't have a lot of time for mishy-mashy stuff, And that was one thing that she taught me as a kid too, is like, speak your truth. And if you're speaking your truth, then I'll stand up for you.
Oh, I love that. Is there a favorite story you have about your mom or like something you just really, really miss?
One thing I miss is when she was trying to be expressive of love, that touch that she would have that would go down your face. I miss that. That will make me weepy just thinking about,
Did she do it more than that one time?
Like every 5 years. It was something where you thought, I wish I had more of that.
Yeah.
I do remember as a kid, we had a chalkboard just off the kitchen. And I remember one time writing, I love you, Mom. I love you, Mom. I love you, Mom, like hundreds of times, right? I spent a long time writing this in chalk. And I said, Mom, I got something for you. And she looked around the corner and she's like, okay, it's dinner time. Erase that. Yeah, it still sticks, but yet this moment of, I love you, Cess, erases it.
If she was here waiting for you in the other room and she wanted to have a chat with you, what would you want to tell her?
Oh, now I'm going to cry. I'd want to tell her how beautiful her grandbabies are because she saw my sister's kids and she saw my brother's son, but she didn't see my grandbabies. Sorry.
It's okay.
The weekend before she went to hospice was my daughter's bridal shower. Mm. So, all that weekend, I'm trying to enjoy the bridal shower and the oncoming of this new union and, all of this. And in the back of my head, I'm like, and Monday we're taking her to hospice, Sorry. I would have wanted her to see my kids' weddings and my grandbabies because they're beautiful. So.
Is there any part of you that believes she does see them? She is with you?
That's funny that you say that because I talk to my brother a lot and I say, I smell Mom's perfume. She wore Oscar de la Renta, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll come into my house. I don't wear Oscar de la Renta. Nobody I know does. And I'll smell Oscar de la Renta. And I'm like, oh, hi, Mom. How are you? Mm-hmm. Or I'll catch a whiff of the scent of my mom and dad's house as my mom was in their bedroom and the scents that come with a person who's losing their battle with life. The different smells of the bathing things that they use and the shampoos and ointments to keep the muscles not sore and stuff like that. Every once in a while, I'll smell that as well. But I like it better when I smell Oscar de la Renta. Yeah, because I'm thinking when she's coming then, she's coming happy. And when she's coming, with those other scents, I feel like she's saying, I'm here. I'm here. And almost like seeking a hug or giving a hug. But the Oscar is like life, you know?
I just heard something. Losing your mom is like being 5 years old, standing in the park. The balloon flies away and you're left with the string just drooping.
Hi, I'm Kerri Miller, and my mom passed away 5 years ago, and she was 62, and I'm just shy of my 40th birthday. She had a massive sudden heart attack. She hadn't seen a physician in probably, I'm going to say, at least 10 years with, sort of some moves that she did. And she never found one in her area, and some procrastination and stubbornness and that kind of thing would have been probably noticed with some blood work and a physical or that kind of thing. So for a long time, she was probably dealing with some major arteries blocked in her heart and then the effects of that. So yeah, she went to the washroom after a really day of not feeling well, collapsed, and my brother found her, and that was it.
Are you upset with her that she didn't go to the doctor?
I was really angry, actually. I was really angry that how dare you not take care of yourself because you're leaving your grandkids and, you're not going to see things with your own children. But after I think some time has passed and just doing some shadow work on that, like, why does that trigger me so much? It really isn't about me. That was her life to live. It's her journey. It might be my journey to deal with some of the things unresolved from that and with her, but I can't hold that against her.
Were you guys close?
At the immediate time around her death, no, only because she was abusing some alcohol at the time, which didn't help. And it changed her behavior quite a lot. And so we were having a bit of because we had switched to the power dynamics of me owning the house and being her landlady, which, So my last interaction with her was actually quite terrible. And I remember leaving the house because we'd replaced a refrigerator that, had decided to just not perform properly. So we replaced it. And the battle that some small little thing for her was huge. And we had a battle about it. And I left the house and I looked at my husband and I said, okay, it's time to talk to our realtor because I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be in this role with her. Before that, though, yes, we were close. She actually moved closer to be near us to help with the grandkids and sit and have wine and talk and whatever. She'd visit. She helped out quite a bit.
In what ways are you like and not like your mom?
I think I take on some of the victim role like my mom does, which drives me absolutely batty. I hate it. So that's there. I call her like the eternal victim. She never quite got over getting divorced and having her world change and it being out of her control. I'm stubborn like her in terms of sensing other people's empathy and having a very high empathy myself. That is a lot like her. She was sensitive that way to what was around her and energy conscious. The gentle spiritualism that came from her is definitely me. So I like that part. There's a lot, I think, that I'm like my mom.
Was there anything as a little girl that you swore you'd never be like your mom and are?
I think the nagging. I hated when she would nag us. And I catch myself now with my kids going, oh, you don't listen. You're not hearing the words coming out of my mouth. Why can't you just do this? And there's the odd time I'll stop and go, whoa. Or I'll see myself, I'll like be doing something in the mirror and I'll see a mannerism and I go, oh my gosh, that's my mom. Like, whoa, that was her right there. And it makes me like shudder because I see as I'm getting older, I'm like, gosh, am I ever shifting to recognize her there?
Do you feel different in the world without your mom?
Gosh, yes. That was a pivotal, I just got goosebumps. Pivotal sort of changing point for me in my life, actually, because it was a important role. I mean, that's a main relationship for me and a fairly stable one throughout. At least I knew what to expect with my mother, but she was at least there. She would show up. Mm-hmm. She would help. She would do that stuff. So it was a constant in my life. And for that to switch at the age that it did, turning 40, when a lot of expectations reprioritize. And so that was a big pivotal moment for me to reprioritize what was important. And it shifted my marriage. It shifted how I look and handle my kids. It shifted a lot in me I think for a while I stayed in that sort of like the fight, flight, freeze reaction where I was kind of frozen for a while. I don't know how I would have been had she not died then.
What in particular changed?
I'm what I call a recovering people pleaser. And I get that because of my family of origin and, divorce and all of that stuff, and trying to mediate and make everything flow instead of dealing with conflict. And coming into your 40s and knowing that, geez, like that, she's gone. Okay. Why am I doing everything you want me to do? Because it doesn't fit. I think that's why I froze, because it's a lot to process to come, like that's a different change to go from people pleasing and not recognizing that it hurts me because I don't have boundaries and I don't set limits right? To this doesn't make me happy anymore. I have anger here. I have why. So now it's all the shadow work that I have to do in order to understand that expectations are now set by me first. Mm-hmm. So it did that for me. It kind of was like a energetic slap in the face, if you will, of, hey, is this really the life you want? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Are you worried genetically that you have what she had?
Yes. It's been a constant dialogue now because it's on both sides of my kids' family. Like both lineages have it on multiple spots. And it becomes now even more important to look at health, right? And so I'm worried. But only to say that, only to know that I have to then put extra care into health. Not that I'm worried that I'm going to, for instance, drop dead. I'm at peace with dying, actually. I'm not afraid of that part of it.
I'm not either.
It's kind of comforting, actually.
I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah, I'm good anytime.
The only fear I have is to leave my children motherless. But other than that,
I don't want that for them.
But they've also kept me alive, I'd have to say, through the years, through the hard parts. The days that I was like, this isn't going to work anymore. But then there's 2 children at home. So.
Yes. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking. Yes. I'm here for that reason too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a hard one, actually.
Because.
Oh, just of the sort of darkness that you can go down about giving up, but knowing that the kids are the anchor, which is great. I know many people that don't see it that way and have even asked me, like, what do you do on those days? I'm like, well, they're the reason why. I can't imagine. But I mean, in terms of losing parents, it's kind of a rite of passage for the kids coming up, actually. When I had said sort of my goodbyes to her in the first month after she left, because she kind of energetically hung around. I kind of felt her. I, had an apparition of her and everything. But then there was this like weight that lifted, and I got this sort of feeling of, well, now it's my turn. It's my time now. I'm out from underneath one parent at least, and it's just me. Mm-hmm. I'm responsible. It was an interesting switch. Like she died to make way for me to start to live my life.
Rene Johnston. My mom passed away 47 years ago when she was 42 and I was not quite 4 years old. She had liver cancer.
Do you have any memories of your mom?
I do have a few. I remember I had a terrible dream. Okay, well, first of all, my Yahoo brothers were watching me. She was working one night and they were watching me and they allowed me to watch Rosemary's Baby. I must have only been like 2.5, 3 years old. I mean, I was little. Big surprise. I had nightmares. Yeah. And I remember her coming in and comforting me and going out to the kitchen with her and her giving me a baby aspirin, telling me that would make it okay. And
that's sweet. That's cute.
I remember some bits and pieces of holidays, Christmases or Thanksgiving, trying to sneak peas into a napkin and walk them to the bathroom and getting busted. And remember that we used our good china. It was decked out and beautiful. Yeah, a handful of silly little things like that. At some point, having lost her so early, it starts to get a little blurry. Like, is that an actual memory or is that a story somebody told me? So I'm literally only telling you things I know for sure I remember, you know, and then over the years I've heard a lot of stories about different things that you know, that make me smile when I hear them.
Yeah. How do you think your life is different without your mom?
Gosh, I mean, it would have been radically different. You know, my mom's family was a big family. She was the youngest of 9 children. They were beet farmers. You know, they were very ingrained in the community. All her siblings lived in and around that area. So I would have, until I went off to college or whatever, I would have stayed in that area. I would have never moved to Idaho. I would have never moved to Washington, probably. I would have never met 90% of the people that I know now, or, you know, they would be all different people in my life. And who knows? I mean, from that perspective, radically different. As far as who I am, gosh, you know, that's just another matter entirely. I wonder sometimes, like, would we have gotten along? Would we have had those teenage mother-daughter fights? And I'm sure we would have. I'm sure it wouldn't have been all just blissed out. But, you know, I definitely have her idealized in my mind. I mean, there are some things I know are not exaggerations or nostalgia. She was tall and elegant and beautiful, and she had good girlfriends, and her brothers and sisters loved her, and she had at least 2 men, you know, in her adult life that adored her, and her children adored her. So I know that some of that is not my childish, you know, exaggeration of who she was. But then my brother that I'm closest in age to, he and I had gone on a trip back to Montana to visit some family, and we'd gone to the cemetery. I was probably 19 or 20. We're standing there in the cemetery at her grave, and I just lost it, just fell apart, which honestly, I've probably cried about my mom having passed. I could count it on one hand. And he asked me what was on my mind, and I said, I'll never be as good as she was. I just feel like I'll never be as good as she was, or I'll never be everything she was. This makes me emotional. So he had to remind me. He said, you know, she wasn't perfect, Rene. You know, she had a temper. One time she got mad about something and she slammed the car door and slammed part of me in it by accident, you know, and, you know, she wasn't perfect. And I'm like, okay, you know, I get that. I would love to have really, really known her and not just the idea of her.
What do you think, if your mother is like some kind of, you know, now all around you, what do you think your mother wants for you?
Ooh, that is a tough one, because when your mother is gone and you believe in any sort of spiritual afterlife, but I'm not particularly religious, but I definitely believe she's there somewhere, right? You do desperately want them to be proud of you and to think you've made good decisions. And I know ultimately she just wants me to be happy, but there were times, especially in recent years, where I was not my best self. And I remember telling myself, I'm like, okay, Rene, what are you doing? You are Francis Schrader's daughter. This is not how she would act or what she would want for you. And so I can't say that I know enough to say she would want me to be this type of person or that type of person. I wish I'd had direction from her, you know, study this or don't let this bother you. Or, you know, I guess I did hear at one point that she had wanted me to be a ballerina. That I definitely did not manage.
That's funny. Do you know enough from stories or whatever to know how you're like your mother?
Yeah, a few little things. Physically, you know, how critical we are of our own looks and bodies and things like that. Well, one of the things I actually like about myself are my lips And I think it's mostly because they're my mother's lips. And, you know, if you see photos, I mean, it's very obvious. Our eye colors are very similar. She was a redhead, you know, that kind of thing. From a personality perspective, I told she had a very, very sharp wit. And I like to think that I have that trait. You know, again, I hope that I am even a fraction of the strong, loving woman that she was. I hope that I have those traits, maybe to a lesser degree.
I want to mother you so much right now and tell you how perfect you are, exactly the way you are. And I know your mother is thinking that.
Yeah.
She is so proud of you, exactly the way you are.
I do believe that she loves me, but I can't draw on the experience of being loved by her. It's not a feeling I can recollect in my being.
Yeah. Oh, I totally understand. I'm so sorry. If she was here, like in the other room, and you got to hang out with her, is there anything you think you'd want to say to her?
I would want her to know that I missed having her in my life.
My name is Lona Barnum, and my mom passed away 56 years ago when I was 12 and she was 54.
You're how old now?
68.
I know that I feared 46. Was I going to die the same age my mother did? Did you have that fear?
No, I can't say that I had that fear. For me, I think it was more not celebrating. I'm getting emotional. Jeez. Hang on. Okay. Whew. This is hard. Okay, so not celebrating being 54, knowing that she couldn't. I think that was tough.
Yeah.
I wasn't never worried about the totality of it. Like, crap, I'm 54. And I've never felt that way about any birthday, actually. It's like a blessing. It's like, wow. But this one was, I'm 54 and she's not. Geez, it's hard. That link has been gone, forever. That's tough. I don't usually talk about it. So that's tough,
What's it been like being motherless since you were 12?
You're going through emotional changes. You're going through bodily changes. I had a million different questions that went unanswered. My father did remarry. And while my stepmother was a nice woman, she wasn't my mother. And so there was no way in hell I was going to ask her any questions about anything, and it wasn't that I didn't like her. She just wasn't my mother. And sadly, I think I just put this kind of barrier up because if I ask her a question, then I'm admitting or accepting the fact that my mother's gone and I can't ask her. So I sort of stumbled my way through a lot. Some days were good, some days weren't, because there's that little green jealousy that rears its head and says, you have a mother and I don't. And that's not fair. That's really not fair. And you don't understand it. From diagnosis to death, I think it was 2 years. And it was a hellish 2 years for her. It was awful. So that's the other thing is you're 12 years old and you're looking at your mom who had been robust and was up every morning cooking at the crack of dawn and cleaning house and doing all these things and playing cards with you and reading to you and scolding you and all of those things that you grow up with. And then all of a sudden you're looking at this woman who can't get out of bed and she's highly medicated, and part of the responsibility for care now falls on you. So that was the other side of this. And I did have resentment. I never thought I really did, but I did. I had a lot of resentment because my dad was a truck driver, so he was gone a lot. So I'd have my aunt over, and she and I would take care of my mom. And, you know, I wanted to go play with my girlfriends. I wanted to be a kid, and I couldn't do that. I look back at silly things like she wouldn't let me do something. I needed to be home for some reason. And I just felt like she hadn't given me a good enough reason. I must have been maybe 11 at that time. And I was just being that typical 11-year-old snotty kid. And we always gave each other a kiss goodnight, always. And that night I said, no, I'm not kissing you because I don't like you. And I stormed off and went into my bedroom. And I carry that with me all the time.
Still?
Sure.
I understand why you do, but don't you think that in heaven, there's no grudges? She's looking down on you. She knows you were young. She knows you were a bratty little 11-year-old and didn't mean it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure that there are no grudges in heaven. I'm sure it's all self-imposed on my own. We're human. And so, of course, we drag that bag of guilt around. I remember someone telling me this years ago that carrying guilt around is not a badge of honor. Letting it go is. It's such a good thing. And I think, yeah, you know, you're right. And most of it has dissipated, but there's always going to be those little shards that come through that you go, oh, why am I thinking about that right now? But my mom was quick to forgive anybody and everybody. She never held a grudge. She might get angry, but she never held a grudge ever. So I'm sure she's like, oh, will you let it go? Who knows?
I'm sure she is. No, I know.
Yeah.
Tell me a favorite thing about your mom.
She loved a good joke. She told terrible jokes. And so when she would try to tell a joke, she would start laughing in the middle of it because she thought it was so funny. But she loved a good joke. She was a twin, and so she and her twin sister were singers. So there was always music, and she definitely had a beautiful voice. She taught me how to play cards. She absolutely never let us win. If we won, it was because we won. And she wanted to make sure we knew that. So we had hardwood floors in our house. And so every Sunday we had to clean the hardwood floors. And so she would mop them, and then she'd put a layer of wax over them. And then we would get in our pajamas and sit on these pillowcases. And then she would pull us around on these pillowcases to clean the floors. And one time she decided that she wanted us to pull her around on the pillowcases. You know, she's just a little on the quirky side sometimes.
If your mom was here and hanging out with you for an afternoon, is there anything that you long to tell her or want her to know?
I just want to play cards with her. Have a cup of coffee, play some cards, maybe, you know, take her to the park. General conversation, I think, would be just, I'm doing okay.
Hi, I am Emily Britton-Arnold. My mom passed away 5 years ago when she was 56 and I was 36. She overdosed on medication.
Oh, intentionally?
I believe so. She took a bottle of Tylenol and a bottle of Benadryl. Yeah, she was living in a homeless shelter at the time.
Oh, she was?
She was a drug addict, so it was no surprise.
Mm-hmm. How long had she been in the homeless shelter?
She had been in and out of homelessness for roughly about 10 years prior to that.
Was that part of your childhood as well?
Yeah. So what happened was my mom was a CNA in a nursing home. And one of the People that lived in the nursing home was combative and knocked her down and injured her. So she had to start taking some pain medication, and she became quickly addicted to Vicodin. And I was 12, I think, at this time. And really, the majority of the memories that I have of my mom was either she was drugged out on the couch or she was drunk somewhere.
Are you angry with her?
Not anymore. I was.
What were you angry about?
When I had my first son, Paul, he will be 18 this year. And I realized how much I loved him and how much I never felt that.
Oh.
And at least not that kind of love. I mean, that was 18 years ago, so I've dealt with it since then, but that was like the first thing that I remember triggering that anger. I think I was just angry because I felt like I deserved that love too.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that it wasn't fair that was missing for me. And then I really had to deep dive into, did I do something wrong? Was something else happening that I didn't know about? Which there was tons of stuff happening that I didn't know about.
Like what?
She had bipolar depression. She struggled a lot just with herself. My parents' marriage wasn't great. She had been abused as a child. She had been neglected as a child, and she had demons. I mean, she really did. She was tormented. And then she did things like bounce checks and break the law on top of that. So I couldn't have probably survived her life either.
In what ways are you like your mom?
I'm bossy. I think I know everything. I'm very smart. I'm very driven. And I know deep down that I can figure out how to do just about anything. And those are things that I learned from her. And it's actually one of the things that saddens me the most about her life is that she had all of these things that are what make me successful. And she just didn't know what to do with it. But I also see her when I look in the mirror a little bit. I look a lot like her. And before, just struggling with my own stuff, when I would lash out in anger or yell at my kids, things like that would remind me of her. And those were the things that I hated.
Do you feel any sympathy towards her?
I do, a lot. She lived in a time where she didn't have help accessible like we do now. And everything that she was going through was very stigmatized and wasn't okay to talk about. And I think that she found the escape for her life in the only way that she could.
Is there anything you miss about her?
This sounds horrible, but no, not really. But I think I never knew her. I think that she was never really herself. I don't have any happy memories about my mom and my childhood. I know that they're there somewhere. I just can't remember them, but I know that she's in heaven, and I know that I'm going to be there with her someday. And that's like one of the things I look forward to the most is getting to know who she was, because I never knew.
If she was here now, is there something you want to tell her?
That I forgive her. That everything's okay. And that I'm thankful that she was my mom, even though it was hard, because I love who I am today. And I know that I wouldn't be this person had I not had those hardships and challenges that were put on me.
Do you think there's anything she'd want to tell you?
I imagine she has lots of regrets. Lots of missed moments and relationships and things like that. I'm sure of it. I have them, you know, and I think that she would want me to know that she really did love me as much as she could.
And do you know that?
I do.
Do you think that you didn't know your worth because you didn't feel your mother's love?
I think I didn't know my worth because she didn't know hers.
Hi, my name is Cecily Mathis, and my mom passed away less than a year ago when she was 73 and I was 46. She passed from a stomach cancer.
Were you guys really close?
Yes. It's like the one thing I've always dreaded, the one thing that would instantly bring tears to my eyes, even if I thought about it.
Yeah.
And just never really foresaw this day. She would always tell us, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be here forever. And we would, as young kids, ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we got older, like, Mom, stop saying that. You're going to be here. Mom, stop. And now she's not here. It's been hard. I just miss her so much.
How is your life different?
I'm usually a up person, and generally I am, but I can tell that I'm not the happiest. I'm not happy at work. I'm very distracted, just kind of mega scattered at this time.
Mm-hmm. I totally get it. It's just a weird thing to be without a mom, because I feel like that's the unconditional love we have in the world. And then what now? Is that how you feel?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like things I want to talk to her about, even though, I speak out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Hopes that she's listening to me and will send me a message some way. But there's so much I want to talk to her about, and I can't because she's not here. And there's nobody I would really trust to talk to. I just miss the daily conversations with her. Like, she call me, I call her. Sundays, we go grocery shopping. It's just...
Yeah. I don't have any brilliant things to say. I think only people who have lost their mothers understand your loss. The world doesn't really get it.
I say that's so true because I have friends and family, a lot of my cousins who have lost their moms, and I felt a lot different about death. I was optimistic about it. Okay, yes, they're gone, but she's in a better place.
Yeah.
And, you kind of tell it to that person, not really knowing the shoes they're in. And then you're in those shoes and you're like, oh my God. Like, if they felt the way I'm feeling, it's so heartbreaking.
I'm giggling because the inner better place, I totally get, but also it's no comfort, right?
Right.
They might be in a better place, but also that doesn't do anything to comfort me. I want my mommy.
Mm-hmm. My mom used to always say, I want my mom. Probably a month before she passed, she would say, I just want my mom.
Yeah.
Like, I want my mom. And I'm like, my God. And her mom passed when she was young too.
Mm-hmm.
But she had that innate feeling like she wants her mom's love.
I like knowing that your mom wanted her mom, even though it's sad.
She said those words, and it was like, wow, like it's been years.
If she was here, is there something you'd want to say to her?
Yes. Yes, I would just express my love to her. Any apologies where she felt like I wasn't there for her at any time, where she felt she needed me. I just tell her that even growing up, we were close, teenage years, there's those battles, right? But in my adult age, I used to always say to her when she'd say something, I'm like, Mom, you're right. You remember you said that? You're right. You were right. And she chuckled and laughed, just like, I'm telling you. And I would tease her like that because she would really be right about everything she would tell me and my sister and my brothers. It's like, Mom, you were right. You were right. And I would tell you, Mom, you were right. You weren't going to be here forever.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry for your loss too.
Thank you. What's just something you really loved about her?
I love growing up to watch her get ready to go out or put on her makeup and get dressed up, and she put on her wigs and things. And of course, I'm waiting for her to leave because I'm going to go right behind her and play in the makeup and get in trouble the next day, but I would still do it. I love that memory about her. She was such a giving person. And I used to always think that, Mom, you're like bothering people. Why are you? But she genuinely cared for people and their well-being. And I get it now. Like, I get it. And it's instilled in me now. Like, whenever I'm doing something, I'm like, I know I'm doing this because I know my mom would do the same thing. There's so much Hera that I adore and love about my mom.
Are you turning into your mother and you're happy about it?
I am turning into my mother. And I'm happy about it. I hear her when I talk all the time. I'm like, oh my God, that's Mom. I sound like my mother. And my friends say, you sound just like Miss Bessie. When I'm talking sometimes, I hear her. It's unbelievable.
I remember my mother's very hot skin. Like, she was always hot. Is there a way she touched you that you in particular miss or anything?
I miss her hugs. Mm-hmm. My mom was always so soft. Could snuggle up to her. Mm-hmm. I've never left Florida. I never wanted to leave. I never wanted to leave my mom here. I didn't go off to school or anything. I'm like, I want to leave my mom.
Aww.
I felt like I had to be there to protect her or something. And now I'm like kind of anxious to move. Like, I'm ready to get out of Florida. But where will I go?
Anywhere that's not humid and...
I don't want to be cold. That's the thing. It's like, now, where am I going to go?
I hear you.
Where am I going to go, Hera?
Well, I think you should go exploring for sure.
Yes, for sure.
Do you think your mother thought you should protect her?
No.
Did she like you hovering? Were you a helicopter daughter?
Oh, she might say so. I don't think so, no.
It's sweet, though, to want to be around your mom and, you know.
My life would have been totally different, I'm sure. But I didn't want to leave her.
The world is open to you. That's so exciting.
That is exciting and hopeful. That's amazing.
That's my goal in life, is to provide hope. You can be sad about your mom, but also the world is out there waiting for you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening.